All right, good day, my awesome viewers and subscribers from all over the world. This is The Truth with Ben Jokes, your trusted channel for political analysis. Tinubu is 2 years in office today, and while he and his co-appointees are all over the place telling incredible bold-faced lies, Nigerians are cursing them all over the place. Ridiculous things on the streets of Nigeria today in terms of how the assessment of Nigerians have completely differed from the submissions of Tinubu and his cohorts. You say security has improved. The people you are securing say it is worse now. You say inflation has dropped. The people who use the markets are saying things are getting more expensive. So who is fooling who? And Cardinal Onoyekon said Bat must change his policies. He won't win the next election if it is free and fair. Well, Cardinal, Bat has never won a free and fair election in this country in his life. So what you meant to say is that even his riggers will not help him rig the next election. And we are already seeing that from the massive rejection that his endorsement has received from many APC chieftains. In a nutshell, Tinubu's first 2 years in office, without mincing words, have been disastrous to say the least. And this is a fact known and acknowledged home and abroad. Now, let us look at the top stories. Tinubu's ministers, his entire cabinet, announced that they would go to London to unveil Tinubu's achievements after 2 years in office. But the British media has sent tears to Aso Rock with a disgraceful publication on Tinubu's 2 years. They reduced his time in Aso Rock so far to a tale of hunger, banditry, and all forms of terrorism. For the past 2 weeks, international bodies have been codedly telling Nigerians that Tinubu is a massive failure. Once again, they have doubled down on that in the most respectable manner. So Nigerians who are experiencing this calamity, Nigerians who are bearing the brunt firsthand, can do the needful in 2027. Before I show you details of this top report from British media and how Nigerians reacted, let me quickly show you these videos. The first video here is from the Minister of Education, Alausa. This man lied and lied and lied in this empty video that carried no substance, even when photos and videos shared on the internet hours ago show clearly that the educational sector is dying in Nigeria. See the video.
Beyond being constitutional right for every child in Nigeria to get education, it's also fundamental human right. And that's what this President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has vowed to protect and defend. The President has done so much in ensuring that every single child in this country gets a high quality education. And that's why, if you look at this 2025 budget, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has committed the highest amount of money to the education sector. And that's because of his fervent and benevolent belief in human capital development. And when we talk about human capital development, what are we talking about? We're talking education is the center of it all, healthcare sector and social protection. This is the first time we have the highest political will to ensure that every single child in this country gets the highest quality of education. This is the President's commitment to the people, to the citizens of Nigeria, and this is the mandate that he has given me and my colleague at the Federal Ministry of Education, Professor Suwaibat Said Ahmad.
You heard that. Now look at this. WAEC candidates sit for examination in darkness without power supply. And WAEC came here to apologize. WAEC apologizes for conducting exam late, cites leakage prevention. So in order to prevent the leakage of examination papers, WAEC brought papers 10 p.m., 11 p.m. in some cases. So students were writing WAEC around 1 a.m., 2 a.m. in the middle of the night, as if they were doing night vigil. So from the failure of JAMB, we have entered the failure of WAEC. Yet the Minister of Education is sitting there to tell us that Tinubu has done exceedingly well in the area of education in Nigeria. It has never been this bad. He said he budgeted high for education. You and I know that most of that money will be embezzled and no one will be held responsible. You talk about student loan. The student loan scheme was supposed to help the subsidy on education to be more effective. But guess what? Tinubu removed subsidy on education and school fees rose from 80,000, 90,000 naira to 350,000 naira and even more in some cases. Then he wants to give student loan of 250,000 naira and not up to 5%. What is 5%? Up to 0.1% of Nigerian students will get that loan. It is a scam. If they tell you 200 students have received, just know that it is only about 5 or 10 that received. What a shame. Now, the next video here is from the Minister of Health, Ali Pate. This one lied to the point that he lost his mind while lying. He said from conditional cash transfer, families can feed, send children to school, and even save. Cash transfer of 25,000 naira, you will do all that. Then he said we are now seeing light at the end of the tunnel in Tinubu regime and that the light is getting brighter and brighter by the day. See the video.
Inequality, structural inequality has been very deep. If you look at our Gini coefficient and the high poverty rates, coupled with the difficult reforms that this administration had to do, certainly the pain of Nigerians in 2023 was real. And right off the bat, efforts were done across multiple sectors to see how we address, mitigate the impact, deal with the consequences of the reforms as we get the economy back on track. And those interventions go, of course, beyond health. Health is an element of social protection, but it goes beyond that. A conditional cash transfer through the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction is one that has been able to reach more households, poorer households that are targeted with those transfers that allows them to not only feed but send their kids to school and perhaps even save. But there are other arenas looking at disability inclusion, for instance, looking at aging, looking at nutrition and food security, looking at efforts in the Women Affairs Ministry to ensure that we protect our children, dealing with issues that bother on the welfare of the population. So the issue of welfare of Nigeria's population is at the core of government's attention. It is multifaceted, and it cannot be put in just one pigeon, whether it's nutrition, whether it's taking care of the elderly, the disabled, the social protection, or even the pensions arena, are part of the ecosystem, the social protection arrangements that Nigeria has. I think we've made tremendous progress. I think over time, and you would see by now, we are not where we were in 2023 when these reforms were at their peak. What the president has been able to do through his bold action was to change the direction, take difficult decisions, but also manage the difficult decisions so that we are now seeing light at the end of the tunnel. In fact, the light is getting brighter every day. I believe that on the street, Nigerians would acknowledge, in fact, that there have been some improvements. In the context of health, for instance, we have had People's Voices survey to ask Nigerians their experiences. And what we've seen is that Nigerians are responding, are feeling more confident, but that is with data that is sampled and that is a survey. By no means 100%. By no means there will be other areas that we will fall short. But at least we've moved forward rather than to stay stagnant.
You heard that. That was Minister of Health, Ali Pate. Absolutely delusional there. Conditional cash transfer is supposed to be 25,000 naira 3 times a year. That is 75,000 naira annually. They are not paying it. We know that they have just been lying. You cannot see anybody that has received. But even if they were paying, they said they are targeting 15 million households. So even if people actually received, that is 75,000 naira a year. So it is with 75,000 naira that families will feed themselves, send children to school, and even save. Is this not madness coming out of the mouth of an adult in this country? And he said we have started seeing light at the end of the tunnel and that the light is getting brighter and brighter by the day. Please, Minister Ali Pate, if you were just joking about all that you said in this video, speaking to please your boss Tinubu, no problem. You can go on with your propaganda. But if this is what you actually think, if that is what your brain is telling you about the present day Nigeria, then you need to travel quickly to Kogi State ANCPA to be precise. That is where you will find competent native doctors, medicine men, that can cure this your level of mental illness. Please don't joke with this information. Go and treat yourself. You know well. Now, let us look at the top story. While Wike, Umahi, and other Tinubu's ministers vowed to unveil his 2 years achievements in London, British media Financial Times has completely disgraced them by summing up Tinubu's 2 years in office as a tale of hunger and terrorism. The government has lied that inflation dropped from 31% to 24%, but even at 24%, Financial Times has said that hunger is the order of the day and terrorism has not been tackled. Look at how the papers reported it. Nigerians are hungry. Tinubu must tackle 24% food inflation. Financial Times. Millions of Nigerians are currently suffering from the worst form of cost of living crisis in a generation, the Financial Times says, urging Bola Tinubu to tackle food inflation as a major priority. The Financial Times, however, admitted that these may come as a surprise or even sound like a sick joke to tens of millions of Nigerians who are suffering the worst cost of living crisis in a generation. Mr. Tinubu must prioritize tackling food inflation, tax reform, banditry, and terrorism, the newspaper said. First, his government has to tackle inflation, still running at 24%, with more urgency. Food is the biggest driver. State government need to increase supply by providing farm inputs, security, and better access to market, noted the Financial Times. It added, most crucial, the government must confront banditry and terrorism with the same single-mindedness as it did distorted monetary policy. You heard that. While you are deceiving yourself that you want to roll out achievements, the Financial Times is telling you that you have not even done the basic things. Food, you have not been able to supply. Security, which is the primary responsibility of your government, you have failed at. Imagine somebody telling you to tackle banditry, to tackle insecurity. So you are not supposed to know. The failure of this regime is known home and abroad is so profound, and propaganda will not change anything. We have talked about the hunger under the Tinubu regime so much that some may want to even take it for granted, but never should we. More than 200 million Nigerians are struggling to feed in today's Nigeria. I am telling you, because if you look at the rate of inflation compared to the increase in income, you will realize that there is no way over 200 million people are not struggling. We are not talking about shelter now. That one is an unimaginable tragedy. The Financial Times only spoke about hunger and insecurity. If they begin to talk about other aspects of this country, you will weep. Just food now, Nigerians cannot afford. We have vast arable land. We have one of the most agriculture-friendly weather in the world. Yet, instead of investing massively in agriculture, this regime is busy trying to deceive Nigerians to accept GMO foods that are not healthy. These are foods that were made for countries that don't have good soils, countries that don't have good climatic conditions, agricultural friendly climatic conditions. But our own country is persuading us to accept those crops when we have all the conditions that can support massive agricultural revolution. It's such a shame. Then you look at the area of insecurity. The Financial Times was talking about terrorism, banditry, kidnapping as prevalent factors of Tinubu's 2 years. Those ones are one of the major things that are preventing investors from coming to Nigeria. You come to a country where your safety is not guaranteed. What are you doing here? That is why even the ones that were in this country before are leaving. They are closing up their companies and leaving daily. And this has added greatly to the rate of unemployment. What a disaster. And look at how Nigerians reacted. Let's take some of the tweet reactions. This tweet here from Olumuyiwa says, Nigerians are not hungry any longer. Nigerians are dying. That is the saddest part of Nigeria. It is so sad. The ones that are not dying of hunger are dying of insecurity. Go to Benue State and look at what is happening. And Nnamaka here says, an administration that is clueless. For me, it has been a free fall, and they are talking about 2027. Well, they will talk about it because this is their own source of income. It is the people that are bearing the brunt of their inefficiencies that should stand up and say no. And this tweet here says his extravagant lifestyle and fleet of convoy is more important to him than Nigerians getting food to eat. That is it. And it is still up to Nigerians to say this is not how it should be. Because if you allow it to continue, he will never rethink and stop. You look at Nigeria over the years and then you ask yourself, if you are 35, 40, 50 years old, you ask yourself, is this country better now compared to what it was? Everybody knows that the higher we go, the more we go, the worse things become. All the problems that you met on ground in this country as a teenager, can you point at one that has been solved? No, I can't point at any. So this simply means that the political class will never change. They will continue to succeed themselves, and the people will continue to suffer in their hands until the people say no, until the people are able to start electing their own leaders. And they will only be able to do that when they keep sentiments aside and unite. It is unity that this political class are using against us. If not, how many are they? They are so few. From 1960 till date, add all of them together, they are not up to 50,000 people. But they have held this country down. The likes of Yakubu Gowon, they are still stakeholders in this country, major stakeholders. It tells you that the people have been sleeping. The people have been doing nothing about it. And that is why we keep urging Nigerians that right now we need to keep our sentiments aside and unite so that we can take our country back. But until then, make I still enter town. Make I go get some ogbonge political news wey una go like. Why? Because of una. Now I dey here, so don't go away.